Hey everyone, it's Will, GamerDad, with another video for you. So in today's video, of course, we have finally grinded out 37 million XP, and now we are ready to take on Cetie's second and more difficult final fight for his manifest weapon. Now if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel, I really appreciate it. I also do have a Patreon account for those who want to support me this way. So this video is going to be a little bit different. In my first couple of attempts, I tried to see what we could do in terms of a no AF strat using my blunt team that you probably saw with the first manifest fight. And this is one of those failed trials. I'm sure I could have tinkered around a little bit more, but I decided to just show you anyways, just to kind of see, let you see my thought process as I was, kind of developing different strategies for this fight. As you all know, I try not to watch any other spoilers, and so, went into this blind to kind of see what we are up against. So same thing as the first fight, I VC'd in using Falcon's badge so that Pry switches for AS Mufa, establishing blunt zone. And then I used Destructive Defense, which is of course a preemptive self-harm 20%, but gives type and physical resistance for your whole party. After that, it's all matter of setting up with Ninja Gansai, and then of course setting up some DPS with my AS Melina. And now, if you noticed, I did get debuffed, and that actually really affected my DPS. I didn't realize it for the first couple of tries until I started seeing that red symbol, which really decreased the ability for me to kind of do a low turn no AF clear. Not only that if you take too long, or if you leave certain robot drones alive, especially the red one, that one kind of powers AS Cetie up. Each of them do different things. One does, of course, pain poison setting, and the other one just kind of does this. So of course victory is assured. Watch that. Boom, everyone's dead. And keep in mind, I do have a barrier up, I have type and physical resist down, shields up, and a dual debuff. And so in this fight, I was a little bit more careful. What I did is the same idea. I set up first turn because we can survive the first turn for sure with our shields, blunt zone, and dual debuff. Keep in mind that Ninja Gansai does have a little bit of RNG, so if you don't land it on AS Cetie itself, you will have to at least survive the first hit. Not too difficult if you have a type and physical resistance from AS Ewan. After that, we decided to go with a straight out 2-turn AF here. By doing that, it actually gets rid of most of your problems, because by getting rid of all the different drones, and each of them, like I said, has a different effect, you really only have to take on AS Cetie, and at that point we can concentrate all our attacks on him. Not only that, I did change my Grasta setup to put some proficiency debuff Grasta on my team. That way we don't have to face as much RNG in terms of getting debuff, and so our power and DPS is at full strength. After that, it's just a matter of wearing him down, since he really doesn't have the support of any drones. And you can either just blast him down, making sure you maintain dual debuffs as necessary. Again, end of turn barrier from AS Mufa really does help. Remember that Earth really doesn't do a lot of damage, and so that's really a big problem. But you can see that with all our shields and debuffs on, we only took like 30 damage. And so at this point, it's just a matter of one more hit from Roaring Bash. Also remember that as you get more stacks with AS Ewan, I know we don't really use AS Ewan a lot anymore, but as the fight gets on and he can stack up to 10 stacks, he will do more damage, because each stack does give him, I believe, fire type attack up 5%, as well as, can't remember if it's strength or power or anything like that. And so the fight is over before we know it, just a few turns, and it was actually kind of nice in terms of being able to experiment with some different teams instead of having to worry about extreme difficulty fights here. I mean, let's be honest, most manifest fights at this point are at best moderately difficult. They're not really too crazy anymore, being that we have rosters can even, double your stats, like AS Yifa. You got things that can change resistances, like Alter Xian, and even older units like this, provided you choose the right elements, you can even tank things. You can use Pry if you really needed to, and so on and so forth. And of course, as I've mentioned many times, when you're doing fights, the main thing is to have a wide variety of Grasta. Remember that Grasta really is the system that helps unlock all the abilities on your units, or can tailor them to what you need. For example, proficiency debuff Grasta, or just plain on DPS. Note that I actually forgot to move some Bullseye Grasta back from May when I was doing Frogicide onto AS Melina, which actually resulted in a little bit less of a performance on that fight than I should have. But that being said, we get 100 stones, we get 1 gold badge. Not too shabby. Now, of course, we have to show all free unit team just because we can. And so keep in mind that your results may vary. I do have a full 255 Aldo, 255 Garyu, and I also have an 80 light Aisha. And that actually allows us to have 4 move slots. And the benefit of that, of course, is that now, being that she is a dual zone setter, we can actually switch from fire zone to water zone. Now you may ask, your whole team's fire, Will, what the heck are you doing? Remember that water zone does reduce fire attacks by 50%. And being that we don't have that much shielding on a team such as this, so it's just really offensively minded, by doing that, I mean, we're taking less damage from AS Cetie, and all we have to do is blast AS Cetie into oblivion with the power of Inferno as well as X Slash. Now we realize that our fire attacks are going to be reduced in damage by 50% as well, but really, I mean, with mental focus, which Garyu can give himself, we are not going to be worried about that. Our damage is more than capable of punching through that 50% reduction for us as well. Not only that, but once we switch to Water Zone, if you need some extra debuffs, Aisha can do a 35-35-35 triple debuff on the enemy if you need some extra shielding. We also have Kid. Remember that you can equip those elements to add things like anti-fire and other things like that. And Zed still does do a triple debuff on the enemy while boosting our team's power, int, and speed by the same amount. We didn't really get to stack 10 stacks of Kid's power, but in this case, you really don't need to, provided you're willing to do an AF. I mean, if you're doing a no AF clear just for, obviously for style points, then you'll have to play around with things a little bit. But in this case, certainly very doable with a 1-turn AF, followed by just wearing down the, AS Cetie. And again, just like the previous example, by clearing off those drones, you really shouldn't have too much of trouble. And the only thing is that when you do kill off the drones, your enemy numbers or adversity grass to ore is less effective. So something to keep in mind if you are, needing that extra DPS. And then why not use a really brain rot, unfair super team such as, the likes of AS Chio and Flam and Eva. And really, this is really, really cheap. If you're wondering why I'm not using AS Xion, it's because I really need the defense of the water zone, because otherwise that attack might have wiped out our whole party. So just keep that in mind that sometimes a free unit will actually do better than a gacha unit depending on the use you need. In this case, we did definitely want the water zone. It enhances our damage by 50%, reduces the enemy's damage by 50%, and the MVP here, if you're wondering, is that not only do we have proficiency debuff Grasta on our team being carried by Aisha as well as AS Cetie, I did put the occasional power down or on Eva. Remember that Eva does do a 4-hit combo with Icicle Zorch. Each hit has a chance to land power down, and by landing one of those power downs in conjunction with Water Zone, we are able to survive that first hit. Anyways, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.